Good morning, student. So looking, we are studying this chapter number 3 of your part B book, India, People and Economy, Human Development. So under this chapter, we have looked already the issues related with the human development and aspects related with human development. There we take up and discuss few of the questions like, is the development will create simultaneously haves and have nots? Is development and underdevelopment will go or will coexist or will go simultaneously? We also looked that some of the area were getting the fruits and the benefits of developments, while the other, the rural and the disadvantageous group, are not getting the proper benefit of development. So development is taking place, but the benefit is not reaching to the entire community. So in the light of all these things, we have looked how UNDP works, on which criteria they used to publish the human development report, and on the basis of that the human development index has been developed. So SDIH, PI, Human Poverty Index, Human Development Index, both together will work for UNDP for the formulation of human development reports, on the basis of which different countries have been given different ranks. So all these things we already discussed. What is human development, we also seen in detail. In the last class we discussed about human development in India, and we have seen the ranking of India out of different country of the world, and the HDI value of India, that is 0.624. so India lying in the medium human development showing country. India ranks 131 with this human development index value out of 188 countries. So there are many factors responsible for low score of India in terms of HDI, even India being one of the few developed country on the economic basis or economic criteria. India's GDP is among the top 5 economies of the world. Even then, India is ranked 131. So what are the reasons behind the low score of HDI in case of India? So we have looked that there was a negligence, or there is a lack of sensitivity towards the historical factor in calculating HDI value. Historical factors like colonization, imperialism, neo-imperialism has been completely neglected, and the socio-cultural factors like human right violation, social discrimination on the basis of race, religion, caste, gender, and the social problems like crime, border tension or border terrorism or border war, and other political factors has been taken up. All these things used to be taken up as a criteria for giving the human development scores and ranking. So these are the reason for lagging behind. Why these aspects have a special significance in case of some of the many developing country like India. So for India, they have a historical factors, and there is a lack of sensitivity towards these historical factors in calculating HDI, whereas the social factors and social problems, including the border tensions, were taken up as a part of calculation of HDI. So because of these things, India is lagging behind. Besides that, we also looked that UNDP criteria or indicators selected by UNDP is used by Planning Commission of India for preparing the human development report of different states of India. Subsequently, different states or state government will also started preparing the state human development report on the basis of district as a unit of analysis. So we have seen already all these things. Then we looked into the indicators of economic attainments. So indicators for economic attainments were GDP, GNP, per capita income, all these things. We also looked that GDP of India is around 3.5 trillion, sorry, it's in trillion at a current price. Same we also look the purchasing power of India with different countries of the world, compare it with different country of the world. Within India, we have looked, there is a huge disparity between the few states with the other, like the developed state like Maharashtra, Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat have a better per capita income, whereas some of the states like Bihar, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir were lagging behind. So corresponding to these disparity, the developed state have higher per capita consumption expenditure as compared to poorer states. So per capita income of developed states are more, so their consumption is also more. We also looked in details about these variation, and these variations are indicatives of some of the other deep-seated economic problems like poverty, unemployment, underemployment. So these things, these social issues and social problems have a relation with the GDP of different places, disparity among the different states and different regions of India. So we already looked all these things. We have seen the different states of India on the basis of percentage of population below poverty line. So we looked all these things in the previous classes. Today I am going to start about this indicator of a healthy life. So first we are economic indicator in respect to India, and now health indicator with respect to India. So life free from illness and living a reasonably long lifespan are an indicative of a healthy life. So through healthy life, what we used to see in healthy life, one life could be told a healthy life when his life is longer and at the same time free from any kind of illness. So life expectancy at birth used to be considered as an indicator of healthy life. Along with it, availability of pre and postnatal health care facilities in order to reduce the infant mortality and post delivery date amongst mother, together with old age health care, adequate nutrition and safety of individuals are others some of the important measures for healthy and reasonably long life. So the availability of the system or the advanced healthcare facilities in regarding the pre-birth or post-birth healthcare system for children to reduce their infant mortality rate, to reduce their forticides amongst the children's newborn babies. At the same time, the healthcare facility for post-delivery death amongst the mothers. Besides these things, old age healthcare for a people above the age of 60 years, adequate nutrition and safety of the individual, especially the younger ones. The issue of malnutrition is very common in a adult population. So issue with the nutrition has a proper place, and these indicators, these all things will include the important measures for a healthy and reasonably long lives. So all these things matters, and all these things are taken into consideration for the healthy life. And because of these things, a Swachh Bharat mission given in this table, it has been launched. Government of India went for a Swachh Bharat mission. Under this Swachh Bharat mission, the release of toxic and non-biodegradable waste from the industries and urban sewages are and open defecation etc. have been created many health hazards. So release of all these toxic gases, non-biodegradable waste, toxic gases from the industries, non-biodegradable waste from the urban area and industries as well, urban sewage issue, open defecation issues, especially in the rural area, and all these things have already created a many health hazards, many health issues, and government of India initiated many steps to address all these problems to clean India, and in that way the Swachh Bharat mission is one of the important mission or the steps taken by government of India to clean our India, clean our Bharat. And the philosophy behind is that precondition for a hygienic environment. So if one want a clean environment, the precondition is free from any kind of pollution, whether it is air, water or noise pollution. If the area is free from any kind of pollution, air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, then that environment is considered a clean environment. And clean environment is the precondition for healthy body, and healthy body is the precondition or prerequisite for healthy minds. What it means? It means that a healthy mind used to live in a healthy body, and a healthy body in a clean environment. And for a clean environment, precondition is the area should be clean, particularly clean or particularly free from any kind of air, water, noise and land pollution. So municipal waste, industrial effluents and pollutants generated by transport etc. So municipal waste from the urban area, industrial effluents, mainly the outproduct of industries, different chemicals etc. and pollutants generated by transport, mainly carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases, carbon monoxide, acid, nitrogen dioxide, all these things are there, sulfur dioxide. So these are the pollutants generated by transport. So all these things, municipal solid waste or any sort of municipal waste from the urban area, any industrial effluents in a form of chemicals or gases, anything like that, and pollutants, PM particle etc., greenhouse gases by the transport, all these things are major source of pollution, especially in the urban area. Same way in rural area, the major issue is open defecation. Open defecation is also a major issue for urban slums. So these are the major source of pollution in urban and rural area of India, and government of India with its flagship program in the name of Swachh Bharat mission aims a pollution free environment, and the objective of this Swachh Bharat mission has been described by different points here. So objective is to making India open defecation free. So nobody will be go for open defecation in a खेत वगैरह में ओपनली वॉशरूम वगैरह लोग नहीं जाएं, ठीक है ना. मेकिंग इंडिया ओपन डेफिकेशन फ्री, अचीविंग 100% साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट ऑफ municipal solid waste. So all the solid waste from the city area or urban area has to be scientifically managed, has to be scientifically converted into reusable things and construction of individual household latrines and community toilets. So this is for stopping open defecation. So for here and there, in a public place, in a community toilets, in a public toilet has to be constructed. Community toilet, public toilet is must, and in urban area or even in a rural area you will get nowadays all these facilities has been provided by the government itself. Same way government is also facilitating money for the construction of individual household latrines, IHHL, for on a community level CT, community toilets, and on a public places PT, public toilets has been facilitated by government itself just to make India open defecation free. Besides that, government is also looking to manage all the sort of municipal or urban solid waste. Besides these things to look into, government is also making provisions for the supply of clean energy fuel, clean LPG cylinder to all household, especially in a rural India. Why it is so? In rural India, women used to burn वुड्स, लकड़ी का टुकड़ा वगैरह, लकड़ी वगैरह जमा करके वो जलाती थी फॉर कुकिंग, एंड दैट विल प्रोड्यूस much pollution in form of CO2. So reduction of CO2, the one of the most important greenhouse gases, is the aim for the government, and that's why government is providing LPG cylinders even to the rural areas. Besides that, providing clean drinking water to every household to control any kind of spread of waterborne diseases. So any waterborne diseases has to be controlled, and that's why government used to provide potable drinking water to every household, and promoting the use of non-conventional energy resources again to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. So promoting the generation of electricity from wind and solar energy. So instead of conventional energy, government is forcing and providing assistance for the development of wind and solar energy. So these things are the welcome steps under the scheme, under the flagship program naming Swachh Bharat Mission. So government is working in all this direction, focusing to reduce all sort of issues and problems related with a healthy life. So besides that, India have done reasonably well in some of the health indicators like decline in death rate. So at the time of independence, that is in 1951, the death rate of India is 25 per thousand, 25.1. So what is death rate? Is you will be able to recall it. So death rate is number of death per thousand population per year. So in a single year, out of 1,000 people, how many are going to die? How many have died? That is called death rate. Per year, out of per thousand, how many people are getting died is called death rate. So at the time of independence, that is in 1951, it is 25, means out of 1,000 person in a year 25 people is going to die is the average at the time of independence, and we were able to reduce it to the level of 6.5% in 2015. So out of 1,000 people per year, 6.5 people are now dying in 2015, which was 25 per thousand in times of at the time of independence, that is at the time of 1951. At the same time, reduction in infant mortality rate, which was 148 per thousand at the time of independence, to 37 during the same period. Means infant mortality rate. What is infant mortality rate? The newborn baby which under the age group of 0 to the day baby born up to the age of 1 year. So those newborn are called infant. So infant mortality rate at the time of independence is 148 per thousand. Means out of 1000 newborn, 148 used to die and not able to reach the age of 1 year. So before reaching the age of 1 year, 148 child out of 1000 will used to die at the time of independence, and we are able to reduce it to just 37 during the same period. What it means nowadays, that is by 2015, we reduces this infant mortality rate from 148 per thousand to 37 per thousand. Okay, so is it clear? Similarly, it also succeeded in increasing life expectancy at birth. So I already discussed it many times. At the time of birth of the baby, the average life expected that he or she will be able to live a life on an average, if he or she will not going to suffer from any chronic diseases, then in that case the average life of the newborn is called life expectancy at birth. So we were also managed, or we were also succeeded in increasing the life expectancy of the Indians at the time of birth from 37 year to 66.9 year for Indian males and 36 years to 70 years for Indian females from 1951 to 2015. So at the time of independence, average life expectancy for Indian male were 37 year only, and for females it was just 36 year only. From there, by 2015, we were able to succeed it, and now the average life expectancy of Indian males in 2015 is approximately 67 years, and in case of females it is approximately 70 years. So this is average. Okay, though these are great achievements, so it's clearly that from 37 year we will able to now reach the age of 67 or 68 year. This is a great achievement. Doubles, we are able to doubles it approximately a lot. Definitely this is great achievement, but even then a lot need to be done. We also need to do a lot of things in health sector. It has also done reasonably. We have also done reasonably well in bringing down the birth rate as well. So we also bringing down our birth rate. Birth rate is number of birth per thousand population per year. Means out of 1000 people, how many newborn baby is to be going to give birth per year. So per year 1000 लोगों में से 40 नए बच्चे हैं. So this was our birth rate is 41 approximately. So 40.8 is the birth rate at time of independence, that is 1951, and we were able to reduce this birth rate through family plannings and different ways. So we reduces our birth rate to just 21 by the time of 2050. But again, still is much, it is much higher. This birth rate is even much higher than many developed country of the world. We need to do a lot more. We need to moving ahead with time. So there is a lot to be done in health sector in India especially. And if we look into the disparity in the context of different spatial analysis, we will find that situation is more alarming when we look into the context of gender specific and rural and urban health indicators. So if we look into the detail about the gender specific data or rural urban health indicators, then India has recorded a many alarming data or many alarming stats. So the context for this is India has recorded a declining female sex ratio in entire decades. So after independence, there was a continuous declining female sex ratio in India. So condition for women is degrading day by day. The findings of 2011 census will says that India are very disturbing, particularly in case of child sex ratio. So in sex ratio, especially the child sex ratio, which used to be the age group of 0 to 6 years, here India is doing very bad. So India stats is very bad, especially for child sex ratio. The other significant features of the report says that with an exception of Kerala, the child sex ratio has declined in approximately all states of India. So Kerala has a slight increase in female sex ratio. Otherwise, all the states of India have shown some sort of declining trend in terms of sex ratio. It is most alarming, especially for a developed states of India. So the condition for women is even more miserable in a developed region of India, that is the developed states of India like Haryana and Punjab, where the sex ratio is even below 850 female children per 1000 male children. So child sex ratio, especially we are talking about 0 to 6 year age group, that's why 850 female children are there in these developed states. Even the sex ratio is lesser than 850 females in Punjab and Haryana comparison to male children. So what factors are responsible for it? Is people used to say like scientific method of sex determination is the responsible for it. These are the developed region, medical facilities are there, so parents used to find it out earlier itself that it is a baby boy or baby girl, and accordingly they used to take decision. In case of girl child, they used to go for fratricides, that is within the womb of a mother they used to kill girl's child. So people used to say that, but is this the case? Is this the reality? So scientific methods should not be given responsibility of all this social attitude. Actually this is issue of society ना. आपको ठीक है, आपको पता चल गया कि शी इज बेबी गर्ल, सो उसको आप किल कर दे रहे हो, भी माँ के पेट में आप उसको एबॉर्शन करवा दे रहे हो या उसको आप किल कर दे रहे हो. दिस इज सोशल, दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ योर थॉट्स, दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ thinking. Social problem is this. This is not the problem of scientific method which we have able to achieve, that we are able to determine the sex of the children or child before the birth. So this is not regarding that. Okay, scientifically we are developed, but determining does not mean you are going to kill. मतलब आपने साइंटिफिक मेथड से पता कर लिया, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि बेबी चाइल्ड अपने आप मर गया, गर्ल चाइल्ड है तो अपने आप मर जाती है. दिस इज यू डू ना. वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट जो डिटरमाइन कर रहा है, सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन में जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट यूज हो रहा है, वी यूज टू डू, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, थ्रू सम ऑफ द टेक्निक्स लाइक sonography. So through sonography we used to find out that the given child is boy or a girl. सो सोनोग्राफी करने से वो बेबी मर नहीं जाता है। एक्चुअली द पीपल, वी ह्यूमन बीइंग यूज टू किल दैट गर्ल चाइल्ड। पहले हम डिटरमाइन कर लेते हैं और फिर उसको पेट में ही किल कर देते हैं। तो दिस इज फॉर्टिसाइड्स। So this is social problem, not the technical issue. This is not a technical problem. So these are the issue related with health indicators, and we are lagging behind in most of the things. Time is already up. In the next class, I will look into literacy rates, this table in detail, and we will look into the indicators of social empowerment. Till that time, see you. Bye bye.